Now for more on the story, we are joined on the line by the South African Communist Party's second Deputy Secretary General, Solly Mapaila. Mr. Mapaila, good afternoon to you. Thank you so much indeed for joining us here on the SA Today. Now, the SACP has consistently been opposed to a parole for Janusz Walus, so I would imagine that the SACP is satisfied that the minister did not grant him a parole.
Yeah, thank you very much. We really welcome the minister's decision not to grant parole to the murder of Comrade Hani, Janusz Walus, on the basis of conflictual professional report that was compiled, which is quite linked with the shenanigans that Janusz Walus and his murderer conspirator, the late Lewis, had followed before, even for the initial medical grounds that led to Lewis release from prison. But Janusz Walus has indicated that he's not remorseful. He's only remorseful to the Hani family, to the husband, to Miss Hani, and to the children. But he forgets that Hani was more than that. Hani was also a patriotic South African, a leader in society who belonged to a broader family as well, including the broader Hani family. So his intention to try and divide Hani into Hani, the communist that should be murdered, but Hani, the husband that should not be murdered, is completely unreasonable and unacceptable. And we believe that the decision by the minister was correct.
And part of what Minister Masuta had taken into consideration is important information, including information from yourself as the SACP. Are you able to share with us your submissions to the minister? Well,
we're able to reflect part of the reasons why we felt that he should not be released on parole, particularly the remorse part, because initially they, together with that Louis, they abused the fact that at one point they tried a simple link with the family when Miss Hani was not in the country, and we did alert them that we will await her return. She had visited Cuba, and on that basis they then immediately put the application to say they've communicated with the family. So they've always been using underhand methods to try and create a possibility for these two murderers to be released without telling the truth, without also being remorseful. And that is why we are happy that professionals who have attended to this particular individual have actually come to different conclusions based on their own assessment. And we agree with the minister on the decision taken.
Yeah. So should he at some point change his mind and show remorse, perhaps, would you consider your decision as the SACP?
Well, our posture on the question of remorse goes with the truth, because his inability to tell the truth was the basis why the TRC denied him amnesty. If he had given or he had spoken the truth, he would not have spent so much time in jail, because he would have been given amnesty by the TRC. The TRC team itself indicated that his inability to tell the truth denies him the possibility for indemnity. And he has actually, if you like, continue to jail himself by denying the truth, and that's the basis upon which remorse will come from.
And part of what he had said, in fact, his letter to the chairperson of the parole board, was that he had successfully completed anger management and life skills programs. So do you not think that he deserves a second chance like anyone else?
Well, look, there are many things that, for instance, have come to light, including the fact that at one point was actually widely publicized. He actually even taught the picture of President Nelson Mandela and actually had a fight with one of the inmates. At one point, you remember that he was taken to hospital as a consequence of that, precisely because he continues to harbor racial attitudes and a very chauvinistic attitude as well against Africans and against even other inmates. That he completed a formalized program. Of course, when you are in jail, most possibly you can undergo one particular program. And that particular program can enhance your possibility to come out of prison and live a better life outside prison. But in this case, particularly for Janusz Walus. He has not shown the wrongness of this particular action. He has only used that to comply with the application process for parole, and that's what we are rejecting. That's why we want him to be sincere, and on that basis we'll engage with his sincerity. At this moment, without the truth, without showing concern and remorse to the family and to the rest of us who are affected by the death of Chris Hani, we think that he deserves to remain in jail.
All right, Mr. Mapaila, we have to leave it at that. Thank you so much for coming through. Solly Mapaila is the second Deputy General Secretary of the SACP, of course, giving his reaction to the announcement made by the Justice Minister earlier today, Michael Masuta, where he was indicating his decision not to grant a parole for Janusz Walus.